if my voice sounds like shit, that's because I feel like shit. I've been sick the last week, man, since like Sunday night. I think it's I don't know, man. I can't tell the difference between a cold and a flu, but I don't know what are the main takeaways. I tried to look it up online, and I was like, they both sound like the same shit. Fevers, chills, uh, muscle aches, stuffy nose. That's pretty much everything I've been dealing with. All right, I just muted there for a second. Hope you didn't hear that disgusting noise I just made. So while being sick, I found myself thinking about YouTube, right? And how much has changed since I first started watching YouTube, which will probably be around its inception. What is that, like 2006? Or might have started 2004. I'm not sure, but I started watching it like 2006, 7. So like the first year it came out. Which is like uncharacteristic of me because usually I always catch shit late. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't. It's rare for me to catch anything that is long running, whether it's a video game, whether it's a show, whether it's a thing, a product. I always catch it like fucking 7 years later. Like, oh, I wish I knew about this sooner. But YouTube is actually one of those things in my life where I was around since the first year, if I'm not mistaken. So I could, as a YouTube enthusiast, I could tell you that no, but for real, like I don't know. I guess because I'm way more on the consumer side of YouTube than I am on the creator side. Like lately, I've been starting to make these videos, and I guess you can call them creating shit. Yeah, yeah, all right, yeah, I am creating videos, but it really doesn't feel like that. It's really just me talking shit unscripted for like a half an hour, sometimes longer. I apologize first of all for boring the shit out of you guys, but I do this regularly. I just want to point that out. Like I with myself, sometimes I would pace back and forth in my apartment and just talk to myself about the day, about shit that's happened, the ideas that are floating around. It I think it's extremely healthy, right? I just don't advise for you to do it in public. Sometimes I'm so used to it like sometimes I'll be, walking making my commute to work and I'm talking to myself like out loud and I have to catch myself because I'll look around and people are looking at me. I'm not loud. I'm not like I'm aware that I'm outside, but I'm sure someone has heard me mutter or something, and they're like, "All right, this guy probably ain't all there." But I find myself thinking about how far YouTube has come, and it's like it's a powerhouse, right? A global powerhouse. People from all over the world can jump on YouTube and in their language see videos from all over the world. It's awesome, man. Like same thing with social media. People are ready quick and willing to shit on social media and all of its negative aspects, but they don't focus so much on the positive ones, which is bringing people together of all walks of life, all sorts of languages, all cultures melded together in just one digital package, right? That's fucking cool, man. I can talk to someone in China within seconds. I can talk to someone in fucking Nepal within seconds, right? You can call it Nepaling. I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. It's cool. There's a lot that's cool about social media. Unfortunately, it's a tough sell nowadays, right? Like for me to be like, "Oh yeah, I get a lot of social media," and for someone else to respond, "Good, that's totally healthy." That's an imaginary conversation today. Probably would have been I mean, a realistic one 7 years ago, maybe. But too much social media is actually a bad thing, and people are, that's becoming more widely known, you know. But it's like cigarettes, right? Everyone knows it's bad for you, but they still do it, right? Same thing with social media. If you use social media for what it's intended for, to connect, to, occasionally browse, and then continue with your life, and then lead a productive life, you're fine. So social media becomes something more of a supplement than an escape or a crutch, right? That's as long as you're not heavily relying on something, then you're not really addicted, right? And some people struggle with that, including myself, right? I found myself thinking like, am I fucking watching too much, videos, too many Instagram reels or whatever? I don't have much of a social. All I have is Facebook and Instagram. I deleted my Twitter a while ago, way before Elon Musk bought it. And it was for no specific reason other than just like I don't want more. I barely checked it. That would be the main reason. I barely was a Twitter guy. But also just I don't want to manage more socials. I deleted my Snapchat recently too because I was just like I don't fucking use this. This is like this. I feel like it's for kids. I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I'm 107 years old, but it just feels like it's so brightly colorful and everything pops out at you. I just like this is for like tweens or something like that. I don't know. I felt like a pervert or something like that. I'll see like young girls playing volleyball like in a YouTube in a Snapchat, and I'm just like it makes me feel like a pervert looking through someone's window. It's weird. It's weird, man. Social media is weird. But unfortunately, if most people use a tool, like if they use something that was originally intended, have good intentions, if they all use it for a bad intention, then it becomes bad, right? Look at guns, for example, right? Guns, I'm sure the original intention of guns was like, hey, even though they were made to kill someone, let's not forget that guns were made to kill people, right? But that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? It sounds counterintuitive to think that way, right? Like it sounds like an oxymoron. Like, hey, guns were designed to kill people, and that's not a bad thing. And you're like, what the fuck are you saying? You're saying that up is down, down is up. But it is true, right? If you're defending yourself, right? Generally speaking, killing people is bad. I don't even know why I have to tell you this, but it is. To some of you, it may be a shocker. And if it is a shocker to some of you, then you're a fucking serial killer or there's something seriously wrong with you. Wait, well, maybe not the former, but more of the latter. 100% the latter. But what I'm trying to say is if you're defending yourself, then killing someone isn't such a bad idea, right? Someone breaks in your home or, you know, you're out at a party and someone starts shooting, right? And you happen to have a gun in you, then in that case, killing someone, hopefully, God forbid you guys or me ever get into a situation like this. But, in that point, killing someone ain't so bad. Now you're a hero. You went from a murderer to a hero, but you did the same thing. A murderer would kill somebody and a hero would kill somebody, but they're all looked at in socially different circumstances. They're all socially accepted. It's very weird. Well, one of them is socially accepted, but whatever. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know how I got all the way into guns, to believe it or not. But oh yeah, so social media is supposed to be a tool that's supposed to be used for connection and good things, right? And to reach to people. And but it's been used as hurting, bullying other people, and human trafficking is now online, which is fucking weird, right? Like uh, the causing jealousy by living a fake life online, causing depression in young women and also in young men too, creating creating a plethora of incels, right? Because these young men are looking at other young men, old men, whoever it may be, and they're like, "Holy shit, my life is not like that. I'm not as tall as this person, as muscular as this person, as wealthy as this person." And you start to get depressed because by comparison, comparison is a thief of joy. I know that sounds like some Dr. Phil shit, right? First of all, stop shitting on Dr. Phil, bro. Dr. Phil, he seems like a good dude, man. Dude's almost like 70. Scratch that. He is 70. I think he's 73. I looked this up. And he's still fucking helping people, man. He doesn't need to do that. He's in his 70s. He could be lounging in fucking Costa Rica with a pina colada, fishing or some shit, right? Like he doesn't need to be writing books. He just wrote a new book recently, I heard. I'm not gonna buy it, but the point is, dudes. I think people shit on him too much. And he was a legit psychologist at one point. He stopped practicing, but he had his doctorates in psychology, I believe. Like, give the guy a little credit, man. Stop shitting on Phil, man. Anyways, he had a cool ass quote recently in one of the podcasts that I watch, and the quote was something like, um, if you want to be like a good friend, you tell the truth to your friend. But if you want to be looked at as like a good person, then you tell that person what they want to hear. So there's a difference between telling someone what they want to hear and the truth, right? And I feel like lately in life in general, people like to tell each other what they want to hear. not the truth, because the truth hurts. Everyone knows that's its oldest time, right? So what does Dr. Phil have to do with YouTube? Nothing. Nothing at all. But if you're listening to some of my videos, you already know I do this shit often, and I'm sorry. YouTube ain't the same. That's my long winded way of telling you this, right? I don't need to tell you that. A lot has changed in YouTube. And man, of course, I don't like it. And I have to a- reevaluate the things that I say because I don't want to come off as a crabby old man. I like to think of myself as forward thinking, adaptable. Like there's some just people who are older and they're just they dig themselves further into a hole. Like I'm not gonna do anything new. I'm not gonna travel. I'm not gonna try new food. I'm not gonna try new technology. I got all I want here. I'm gonna they go out and buy the same foods, same brands. They don't want to grow. And I'm all about being a grower and not a shower. No, but for real, YouTube was much better. Here's my hot take. YouTube was much better when money wasn't involved, when creativity was at a forefront and people did it out of passion. It was just YouTube wasn't a marketplace. It was just a town square where everyone just got together and just shared their ideas. Some of it was comedic, some of it was art, some of it was music, some of it was just insights, some of it was bullshit like what I'm telling you now. Just me ranting about all sorts of things. And it was beautiful because there was no such thing as monetization. People weren't intentionally doctoring their thumbnails and bumping up the contrast and putting arrows and putting like Home Alone faces and this is what a blank looks like, and then it has like an arrow. Like I feel like a fucking idiot. Like like I look at all the and they're all from like major YouTubers, right? Scratch that. They're all from all sorts of YouTubers, even unknown YouTubers. They're all following the same formula, right? I get it, man. Like you want your channel to grow. You want to make some sort of money, but unfortunately it oversaturates the entire experience with the same type of videos. Like I'm sick and tired of these fucking clickbait videos. This is my last video. You look at the fucking number and it's like 4 million people that watched it, sometimes way more than that. And I'm like, that's 4 million people fell for this you know? Or at least a high number fell for this. And it's like, that's not that motherfucker's last video. You know that. But you can't resist. I understand, man. You're a human. I'm not here to tear you down, man. I'm just I'm just appalled that first of all, I like the fact that you can make money off of YouTube. I don't have a problem with monetization, but I do have a problem with you lowering your quality and lowering your standards to make money. Right now, I understand that for some people, going back to a 9 to 5 is not an option. They're like, look, if I have to dumb my shit down and put a hyper, you know, a hyper clickbaity thumbnail in order to get more likes, that's what the fuck I'm gonna do. And I understand that. I don't agree with it and I don't like it, but I understand it. I understand it. Like you got to make your money, especially like the older legacy YouTubers, the guys who've been on YouTube since day one or close to day one, maybe year two or something like that, maybe year three. Those people are having a tough time because there's so many people like them. For example, I'm going to shout out the Angry Video Game Nerd because that was like one of the first YouTube videos I've ever watched. Dude's been around forever, right? I love that guy. Like, I've seen him many times, met him maybe twice and like video game conventions and stuff like that. I don't go to those as much anymore. But although I'm thinking about going to one soon, big one. Don't want to say which one, but whatever. Point is, that's one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, the Angry Video Game Nerd. But what's the reality? The reality is that there's so many angry YouTube nerds right now. Well, angry video game nerds. There's so many content creators that are just like him. When he was doing it, he was the originator. At least, there probably was someone who was doing shit that was similar to him, but it didn't take off you know, as much as it did when AVGN was doing it. But you're spoiled for choice now, for example. So like it's very hard for you to start a gaming channel because God, how many gaming channels are there? You know, like you can get lucky and be entertaining enough to sustain a decent amount of followers. Yeah, sure. But like, you know, we got to be realistic with yourself. And that also, that's another source of depression, right? When you're you're pouring your heart out into these videos, you're spending hours editing them. And then, the viewer count doesn't reflect that, right? You got 10, 15 views, maybe that, maybe 1,000 views, and you're like, damn, I spent fucking like money and time and energy into this video, and I'm not getting the response that I want. And I think that's because maybe your expectations are a little too high, or realistically speaking, you're not fucking entertaining enough. It sounds harsh, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at my videos, right? I'll use myself as an example. My videos, I think the most I got was like, I don't know, like 3 views. No, I got more than that. But like, there's videos where I have 0 views. I don't know if it's still like that. I haven't even checked in a while. I check my YouTube, like, no bullshit. Like, every time I'm about to make one of these. Every time I'm about to make one of these is the only time I check my YouTube. So that could be 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't check them for long. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, I got no views, bro. But I'm not doing this for money. And my expectations are realistic as fuck. I know first of all, who's listening for the most part to videos like mine in today's society where everything has to be fast YouTube shorts. It has to be videos that are, just bite sized and like, you can't find a millennial sitting down reading a book nowadays. They just don't have the attention span for that anymore, right? Now, that's what I think generally. Of course, there's exceptions. Of course, there are some millennials out there that are like, fuck you, bro. I can sit down and read a book. I'm not with this whole, YouTube short 5-second videos. I need to be entertained right off the bat or I'm going to instantly just walk away. I know there's some people out there like that. Look at people like Joe Rogan, right? Who are like, of course, he's a massive name, but like he's leading the charge in long format videos. Like all his fucking podcast is like 3 hours long, and lots of times I find myself tuning in for 3 hours listening to interesting guests and stuff like that. But other YouTubers, as well as other podcasters, are also choosing the long format route, right? Which kind of puts the whole theory of people don't no longer have long attention spans on its head, right? And maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, man. I'm not into psychology. Well, I like psychology, but I'm not into it, obviously. Point is, I can't tell you for sure. In my opinion, I think that people have shorter and shorter attention spans. That's what I really see. That's what I see in my experience, and that's to me, that's where the trend in society is going, right? Just smaller, micro, bite-sized videos. And videos, I emphasize videos, right? Because even audiobooks, like, they're easier to, you know, get into than actual reading books. But all in all, you know, people want to watch videos. They want to be visually stimulated because that's the most obvious and the most straightforward way of getting engrossed in something, right? If you had to pick between a book, between music, between things that don't involve a lot of visual stimulation, everyone's going to pick like a movie or a video game or something that they can sit down and watch with their eyes. That's the key word here, right? People want to see obvious stimulation. That's the way people are generally. What I'm trying to say is that I know that my videos and stuff like that, they don't get views or anything of the nature, and that's okay because I don't expect money from this. Would I like to get money from this? Fucking right, I would. That'd be great, but I doubt it. I mean, I know that sounds like I'm beating myself up. Some people may seem like I'm being self-deprecating or whatever. No, no, no. There's a fine line between realism and pessimism. It may sound pessimistic, but I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm trying to be realistic. This is why I said earlier, like, if your views are not high, of course, this isn't the only reason. Hear me out specifically, but maybe you're just not fucking entertaining, right? Or you're not being realistic, right? Being realistic is telling your friend, like, hey, man, your videos just aren't, they're not. I would say they're not great, but I'm saying they're not entertaining. Maybe it's your voice. Maybe the topics you covered. Maybe you're droning on, but you got to find it and fix it, right? That's not always the case. And I don't want to discourage anyone from making any videos. If you're someone who has been told that you're not entertaining, of course you got to look at who said it. If it's some random guy on the internet or on a comment, then chances are that guy's miserable. But if it's one of your friends, then you might want to listen. Be like, what can I do to change it? Ask your friend, like, what do you watch that you find entertaining, and what am I doing that's not entertaining? Maybe I can learn some tips from that, or you know what I mean? Like, just ask some questions, whatever. Point is, I'm not in this for the money. I talk like this regularly, even when I'm by myself. I'm not joking. Like, I just talk a lot, and I drive some of my friends crazy. But every now and then, something comes out of my mouth that it's worth listening to. Every now and then. I'm not gonna say all the time. And at least I like to think so, right? Because I'm sure that if I sat down and I spoke to someone who's rambling, or I listened to someone who's rambling for 30 minutes, I'm sure at least out of those 30 minutes, there's going to be something that I can be like, okay, I can talk to him about that. Kind of like when you watch a stand up comic who's not that great, but every now and then there's a joke that lands, but then most of the show is shit. That's kind of like that. That's what I'm trying to say I am. I'm a open micer that's not too good, but every now and then I'll make you laugh. Once again, this is the way I think of myself. I'm not being pessimistic, I'm being realistic. There's a difference. So being pessimistic would be like, I'm never gonna fucking make it. I'm worthless. Like, okay, bro, okay. Tone that down. It's not a good way to think. I don't think I'm worthless. I don't think I'll never make it. Whatever making it means, right? Everybody has a different definition of what making it means. All I'm saying is that YouTube is one of those things that used to be better when money wasn't involved, right? And when viewership wasn't like the main reason for people to get in it. I got a buddy, more of a coworker to be honest, that works overnight shift at my job, and every now and then we cross paths. Usually when I'm about to clock out, I usually got about a half an hour to spare, and I'm just sitting around waiting for the time to count down so I can clock out. And he'll come in because he starts in at 10. I usually leave a little after that. And we talk for like a half an hour, sometimes a little longer. And he's telling me that he started a YouTube channel recently and he's been working hard. He said he's been seeing a rise in viewership because he's been putting out videos consistently, and he's putting more effort into his editing, and he said he's having more fun. He's playing the games that he wants, and he likes doing entertaining things. But even though he's on the right path, he still gets upset when he doesn't get the amount of viewers that he's thinking he wants to get, and also because his monetization is getting turned off, or something wonky is happening with his monetization where he can't get paid for his videos. And I'm like, I know that being a YouTube content creator in 2024 is a lot more deeper than the surface topics that I'm covering right now, right? Like I said, if you're like a legacy YouTuber who literally has a business, right, or who has made a business off of YouTube, and you have a physical building where you house employees and pay their salaries, right? And you have to rely on YouTube for everyone to eat, including yourself. Like, I can understand how desperate you must feel sometimes, right? Like, shit, I gotta do something quick, otherwise the lights are gonna shut off in these places, and these people they're not gonna have no job. So like from that point, I can understand why people quickly fall into the beastification of YouTube, right? Mr. Beast being possibly the biggest YouTuber there is, right? Like, look at his videos, right? He set a precedent, right? He set a trend all throughout YouTube and social media in general, where his videos, they're all brightly colored, high contrast, and his face is always plastered in the front, cheesing with like him holding money. It's just very eye catching, very appealing for all sorts of ages, especially young kids, right? Young kids that like bright colors and so forth and so on. So you look at the beastification of YouTube, and it's like it's rotting YouTube, because it's like, yeah, sure, everyone's getting money and there's more content than ever before, right? But the motivations aren't the same. Before it was love, now it's money. And YouTube feels like a fucking cesspool many times. Lots of times. I find myself logging in and just seeing what's featured, and it's all the same video. It's all the same video, same thumbnail, different creators, same video. It's weird. It's like the Twilight Zone coming from an old man like me who was there originally in YouTube and just, remember just seeing simple videos of like AVGN just ranting on Nintendo games, just fucking off the top of his lungs, just screaming. It was hilarious, right? And then just seeing people play the guitar, just set up a shitty camera, fucking shitty 720p camera that's blurry as hell, and they're sitting in front with a cool acoustic guitar, showing people how great they sing or how great they play the guitar. That was awesome. Excuse me. Ah, that shit hurt. So they still do that. People still make people still scream at the top of their lungs when they're playing video games, and people still play the acoustic guitar, but now it's different. The motivations are different. It doesn't feel the same. And I hate for this to be a video of like, oh, YouTube ain't as good as what it used to be back in my day. I hate it. I'm sorry if that's the way it's coming out, but like, considering that I use it, I'm not, once again, let me make this very clear. It's not like I hate YouTube, and that's not what I'm insinuating whatsoever. I still find YouTube useful for everything, right? Do it yourself tips, you know, my makeup tips. No, I'm joking, not makeup tips. But like, just cool shit, right? Like just even shit that I have no real interest in. Like I've seen people make houses with their bare hands. I'm sure everyone's seen those videos, right? Those guys in I don't know where they're at, Indonesia or somewhere. These motherfuckers make entire like houses with swimming pools with their hands and like mud and fucking with no like barely any tools. It's amazing. But anyways, point is I still am an avid supporter of YouTube because obviously you're probably listening to this on YouTube. Don't hate it. I wish that it wasn't the way it is now. Like I wish that everyone who, to go back to the example of my friend who works overnight, like the main reason I brought him up is that I was trying to say that although his heart's in the right place, he wants to make videos that he likes or whatever, he's still worried a lot about monetization. He's still worried a lot about being famous. And I'm like, bro, listen, let that come if it comes, but you gotta do what you love. Like, I know this is gonna sound corny, but like, you gotta love what you do first, and then eventually other people will love it because you love it. Because love is infectious, it's contagious, right? How many times have you seen someone or something be so into something that you're not into? I don't know, just coffee or some shit. And they speak about it with this excited voice, and they're all peppy, and just their eyes are all glassy, and they're just going off right at the face of how much they love, but not angry, but just enthusiastically high energy speaking about something they love. And you're like, I don't give a fuck about coffee, but it makes me happy that you like coffee. Like, I'm happy because you're happy. What was the whole point of me bringing that up? I don't know, but I guess I guess it's okay to want to get money from YouTube. Like I told you, shit. If I get the chance to get monetized, you damn right I'm gonna take that shit. Like for sure. Like why not? That's just hand that shit over. But I'm not expecting that. If it happens in the future, because sadly I don't feel like stopping these anytime soon, even though I might or I should. Sorry, not might. That's not the word I meant to use. I meant should. I'm joking. I enjoy these. Like I said, this is something I do anyway, but I'm not expecting anything from this. I just like to talk shit. And what's the trajectory of YouTube? That's something that I find myself thinking about regularly, right? Like I already know what it's like. I know how it's been or how it used to be, but I don't know what's it going to be like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Is it going to be more of a cesspool? Is it going to be a brightly colored neon? It's just going to be, you know what YouTube is going to be 5 years from now? You're not even going to be able to look up videos. It's like as soon as you type YouTube on your web browser, it's just one giant thumbnail with Mr. Beast's face, right? And you can't even, like everywhere you move the cursor, no matter what you click, you're going to click that video. That's what YouTube is going to be like 5 years from now. Shoot me in the fucking head. I've never seen one of his videos, by the way, but I don't hate the guy. But the dude's playing the game. He's a young man who's rich. From the thumbnails, from judging from the outside, looking at his videos, would I ever watch one? Fuck no. Those videos are like cancer, and I'm being dead serious. Like they are like a cancer. They have spread so cancer in the sense of contagion. That's what I mean. Like they have spread. Wait, is cancer a contagion? I would say virus is more like a contagion. Whatever, man. I'm not a fucking chemist. That's biologist. Oh my god, what am I doing? What I'm trying to say is Mr. Beast's videos, they're a lot like cancer in the sense that they spread about the same way, right? All throughout YouTube, everyone wants to be in Mr. Beast and make money. And once again, it's a lot wrong with that, but there isn't a lot wrong with that. So me, as usual, being a reasonable adult, I stay neutral on the subject of YouTube's existence, right? People hate it. Some people hate it. Some people love it. Not my viewpoints. Well, I'm sure people hate, and I hope people love, but I know some people hate my viewpoints. What I'm trying to say is when it comes to YouTube itself, some people will flat out admit that they hate it, and some people will flat out admit that they love it. I'm always in the middle because I'm too reasonable. I'm not a bitch in the sense that I'm not going to give you my raw opinion on things. I am. I do believe in sticking to your guns. I feel like that's a quality that you don't really see nowadays. People are they like to be tribal. They like to stick to one perspective, and that perspective tends to be around other people that think like that because there's strength in numbers. It's much more braver. It's much more difficult to stick to your own opinions regardless of what other people say, right? It's much easier for you just to go with a clan or a tribe that where everyone thinks one way and you can just add to that. There's no real risk, right? So I enjoy listening to people who stick to their guns, even if they're wrong, or even if I don't agree with their viewpoints. At least I could be like, man, that guy has conviction. He's fucking retarded, but he has conviction. You know what I mean? Like you got to admire that. So I'm neutral. I really am. Like, if I hated YouTube, I'll tell you straight up. There's a lot of things I hate about YouTube, but there's a lot of things I like about it too. And I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and tell you not to make your own channel or you're not funny or that's not what I'm trying to say. I advise anyone to start a YouTube, right? But listen, one thing and one thing only. This is all I ask for, right? If you decide to start a YouTube channel, right? Be open and be realistic with yourself. Do not fall into the pit or the trap of thinking that you're going to be a mega superstar overnight or that you are funny and be very receptive to criticism. Be realistic with yourself. You know what I mean? That's all I ask. Like understand that things are not most more than likely are not going to go the way that you envisioned it, right? Just, you know, And another thing, if I can ask, is just a bonus. I want you to do the first one I asked, but this is a bonus. The bonus would be wait, what would be the bonus? I just had it in my head. Oh, do it for the love. Do it for the love. Don't do it for the money. If the money comes, fucking awesome. Take that shit and run. Run with that money. But do it for the love first. Let the money come. I'm out of here. I felt good enough after almost, yeah, almost a full week of being fucking sick as hell. Felt good enough to record something. Sorry if I was all over the place. This was originally supposed to be YouTube, but then I started talking about Dr. Phil and shit. So sorry about that. But the takeaway is this: YouTube, a lot wrong with it, a lot right with it. Like just use YouTube for what it's intended to be, like a tool. Social media is supposed to be a tool. Money is supposed to be a tool. Don't let money guide your life. Don't let YouTube guide your life. Don't let viewerships guide your life. Don't let nobody guide your life, man. Stick to your guns. And I'll see you on the next episode of Dr. Danny. See you guys.